I'm Jessie Masoliva. I'm from Labindam, but I live in Mombasa. I like listening to Gold FM.
Only the classic hits.
Hi, I'm Sadie Sakio from Kashmir Lotoka. I like listening to Gold FM. Only the classic hits.
My name is Sakata Losana. I'm from Butua and I love listening to Gold FM.
Gold FM. Only the classic hits.
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, Fijian troops exposed to COVID-19. Illegal extraction on the up again. And court cases await housing authority frauds.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
We can tonight reveal that 162 Fijian soldiers returning from peacekeeping duties from Sinai, Egypt, will be put through stringent quarantine after some local civilians in their camp tested positive for COVID-19. Military Commander Rear Admiral Viliame Naupoto says even though no Fijian soldier has tested positive for the virus, it's clear they could have been exposed to those infected, meaning they're at risk. Egypt has so far recorded over 59,000 cases of COVID-19 and 2,450 deaths. Kelly Vadala reports.
Our soldiers will arrive on Saturday after serving in Sinai for over a year, but instead of meeting their loved ones, they will be sent to quarantine.
We've alerted the Ministry of Health that our soldiers, even though none of them has tested positive, because there is no PCR test on the other side in Sinai. But we have alerted the Ministry of Health that they come back from that environment where the civilians who are working at the South Camp, where they are based, have tested positive for COVID-19.
The commander says the civilians that tested positive for COVID-19 worked closely with the Fijian troops.
And these are Egyptians, locals. So we're not surprised that they contracted the disease because they go back home after work. And they work in areas like in the kitchen, those that clean up and etc. These are just providing support to the soldiers.
Naupoto says there were several attempts to rotate the soldiers and get them home to their families.
So they will come in, and we have already had discussions with the Ministry of Health. Ministry of Health have their own protocols that we will strictly follow to the quarantine and the testing that they're going to go through. We are providing all the necessary support that they require from us.
The head of military says he's been in close consultations with Multinational Force and Observers Commander Major General Evan Williams of the New Zealand Defence Force on the status of the Fijian troops. The New Zealand Defence Force has assured Fiji that they're doing all they can to ensure the health and safety of our soldiers. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Illegal extraction of gravel is once again rearing its ugly head. The Ministry of Lands and Mineral Resources has recently received over 10 reports of operators who are illegally extracting gravel from various rivers and streams across the country. These cases were from all over Fiji, which is becoming a major catastrophe for our environment and those who rely on these natural resources for their daily livelihood. Josai Nanunga with the details.
The magnitude of this illegal extraction has seen the ministry put together a rigorous master plan in an effort to curb this unscrupulous age-old act.
The ministry at the moment is trying to review the River and Streams Act and also the State Lands Act in empowering the ministry or the Director of Lands to penalize such illegal activities. Once we receive any report, we attend to the site.
Dr. Tanga says they with the Environment Ministry are working in tandem to take task those who are out to make a quick dollar illegally.
We go and inspect the site. We go with the Environment Department officers, and also at times we take the police with us. And we issue stop work notices. The Environment Department is the department that has the law or the regulation to penalize them or to bring them to court.
Permanent Secretary for the Environment Ministry, Joshua Wycliffe, says they are an authorized ministry to issue penalties to these illegal operators.
By extracting sand, he or she commits an offence and is liable upon conviction to a fine not exceeding $750,000 or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 10 years or even both, and that's in the hands of the court.
This illegal activity has long affected the owner's land and has taken away the privileges for fishing right among owners. Josiah Nunga, FBC News.
Fijians who acquired housing authority lots through dishonest means will now be facing legal action. Minister for Housing Pramila Kumar says an investigation into the practices at Housing Authority has revealed that some people have declared false information, saying that their household income was $20,000. However, they have managed to build two-story buildings in these areas. Pranita Prakash reports the minister responsible says they are now tightening the procedures and processes on lot allocations.
The housing minister says they are now focusing on digitizing as storing information and having a database has not worked.
How can we allocate lots? I think a fairer system would be that before the lots are ready, we advertise that there are 400 lots, whatever, in this particular area. People can put in the application at least 4 months in advance before the lots are ready. And we can cross-check all this information against, with the titles office, with FERCA as well as with FNPF. So once we have done all this verification, we'll know exactly how many applications qualify for those lots. Then we can have a barrel draw, which is far better than asking people to put in the application and you store those applications.
Kumar says they want to ensure that such practices are not repeated.
People have jumped the queue. They've got houses already as compared to those genuine customers who could not approach an official from Housing Authority. They're still waiting, And so we are investigating this matter, and once we have concluded the investigation, those applicants who lied, who were not honest, their cases will be reported. We will take the matter to court.
Kumar says they are coming up with new policies for the housing sector. Due to these corrupt practices, many Fijians have been suffering for years and are still waiting for the lots. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama has announced that the national budget will be on July 17th. During a Talanoa session in Nakasi, Bainimarama says those who haven't made their submissions have exactly 3 weeks before the announcement is made. Fijians and businesses are eagerly waiting for the budget as it is expected to have a number of measures to counter the impacts of COVID-19. Minister for Economy Ayasaid Kayum is currently holding budget consultations around the country and was in Singatoka and Nandi today. Up ahead, inmates given access to stay in touch, and $1.7 million fire station opened.
मेरा नाम शिबू है मैं टावर टाउन में रहता हूँ and I love listening to Mirchi FM it's hot.
My name is Karthik Abdestan और बा में Mirchi FM it's hot.
नमस्कार मैं अलीम हूँ लंबासा से मैं हमेशा मिर्ची FM सुनता हूँ मिर्ची FM is hot in लंबासा.
Mirchi FM it's hot.
The COVID-19 pandemic has created extraordinary challenges for the corrections services in the country. The Fiji Corrections Service has prohibited visitors, including legal counsel, family and friends, from entering the prisons to stop the spread of the virus. However, cutting off all contact with the outside world is not a sustainable solution. Kritika Kumar reports.
The inmates are now able to utilize video conferencing facilities to have face-to-face meetings with their lawyers and stay in touch with their families.
Ensuring that inmates are able to access legal counsel and continue the basic rights of visitors was important to us. particularly in the complex and uncertain situations presented by this global pandemic.
The facility has enabled inmates to attend trials from the facilities, reducing exposure of inmates, correction officers, judges and court officials.
Correction officers were responsible for arranging the inmates to be present to deal with the matters conveniently and, as I have said, professionally. I look forward to continue calling over matters via Skype.
EU Ambassador to the Pacific, Sujirao Sim, says, out of adversities come opportunities.
We know that digital technologies will introduce a lot of changes for the best, and this is the road we're taking, and I'm very happy that we're going along this road with the Judicial Service and the Department of Corrections.
The video conferencing facilities have the additional benefit of linking into the existing court system to allow for remote representation during the recent Supreme Court sitting. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The newly commissioned $1.7 million Nakasi fire station will benefit the thousands living in the surrounding and neighbouring communities. Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama, while commissioning the new facility and fire truck, said they are committed to protecting all Fijians. Koroi Tandulala reports.
The Prime Minister says his government is committed to extending the reach to the National Fire Authority as far as possible, with 18 fire stations in communities all throughout Fiji.
Strong and well-staffed fire stations provide Fijians with emergency services that can help protect homes, businesses, and lives from the threat of fires and, of course, other emergencies. The people of Nakasi can now sleep easier, knowing that these life-saving services are at your doorstep.
The National Fire Authority has evolved over the years to a nationwide emergency service organization, providing a diverse range of risk reduction and fire suppression services to minimize the impact of fires and other life-threatening emergencies in our communities.
The Prime Minister says firefighters play an important role and everyone should also play their part by preventing fire from even starting.
The NFA's responsibilities have grown to include responding to auto accidents, protecting the public from hazardous materials spillage, carrying out flood and swiftwater rescue operations, emergency ambulatory services, first aid assistance, and search and rescue operations.
The newly commissioned Nakasi fire station will be manned by 27 firefighters and 1 station officer looking out for the safety of Fijians. Koroi Tandulala, FBC News.
Chinese ambassador to Fiji, Jian Bo, has congratulated Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama for his strong leadership in combating COVID-19. He says the Chinese government remains committed in providing the necessary support in all areas post-COVID-19.
The Chinese ambassador to Fiji says that without PM's strong leadership, Fiji could not be as safe as it is now, and neither would the Chinese community staying here would be.
I very much agree to what the Prime Minister has mentioned. Fiji has now entered a new normal. And on the one hand, we have achieved a lot with the concerted efforts of the government, the people of Fiji, and communities of the Chinese communities.
Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama welcomed the assistance provided by the Chinese Friendship Association and the private sector.
Thank you for this wonderful donation that will help our frontline workers, assist them in the work that they do every day.
Association President Fang Jamnadas says the donation, which totals over $136,000, was brought in from China. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
Assistance should continue to be people-focused during this difficult time. This is according to the Fiji CSO Alliance for COVID-19 Humanitarian Response during a press conference in Lautoka today. As Felipe Naikaso reports, the group has been grappling with aid and assistance requests from impacted communities and families over the past few months.
One of the findings the CSO Alliance discovered during the COVID-19 pandemic was that many people who had lost their jobs couldn't return to their villages or settlements due to many reasons.
Because of COVID, you have more families returning to a single community, And so that puts pressure on land, that puts pressure on houses, that puts pressure on social nuances or culture in the village, because there are more people returning from the urban area to the rural areas now.
Thank you.
The director of the Fiji Women's Crisis Center has also stated that more needs to be done by leaders, as many Fijians are currently without a job due to the economic situation.
Have our parliamentarians taken a pay cut? They're supposed to be how long ago, 20%? Have they taken that pay cut? How many cars, convoys, all the fuel that goes in there, the leasing of all the vehicles?
Food items have been the main requests for assistance, and it's an area the Alliance is continuously working on.
I hear in conversation that there are groups of citizens that are willing to help, whether it's for food or school shoes or uniforms.
And remind our
The Fiji CSO Alliance for COVID-19 Humanitarian Response is made up of 8 organizations working across different sectors in Fiji. Philip and Ikaso, FBC News.
And Whitney is here now with the latest look at business.
Thanks, Jackie. Coming up in business tonight, Post Fiji turns to innovative thinking. And in growing Fiji, calf rearing for the future. Stay with us.
Radio Fiji 1 nanto moi binti
Sambol beraka nango sela satakau au betu tu me botkola au taka tinga tabua ondo me boli tira singele bango na makete ondo tali taka na barro na Radio Fiji 1 ondo moi binti
ola binariki ayo na bango kelera nai na ton mai na kono na lota mayaki te mai ba do tali tangi ne nanto mai binti nanto monga ni be ya
Radio Fiji 1, Nando Moiviti.
In these times of uncertainty, when businesses have been forced to resort to other alternatives to keep operation, Post Fiji Limited is no exception. Chief Executive Dr. Aniruddha Bansod says over the past 3 months, their operations have been centralized locally as international postal services were halted. Dr. Bansod says they've initiated a new business strategy called Post Express, permitting the company to sell groceries as well. He adds they've been receiving overwhelming response from customers on the initiative, which shows they are heading into the right direction to revive their business.
We also see the hike into the EMS services as well, because EMS is the courier company of the Post Fiji, which is efficiently delivering the parcels and envelopes and other things within the Fiji. And that is a good sign of the EMS growing up as well.
The coronavirus pandemic is causing wider and deeper damage to the economic activity than first thought. The International Monetary Fund says this is promoting the institution to slash its 2020 global output forecast even further. Wall Street's 3 major indexes today suffered their biggest daily percentage drop in almost 2 weeks. This came as a surge in the U.S. coronavirus cases intensified fear of another round of government lockdowns. We now join Shoran from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
Market sentiment is rapidly turning negative due to concern over increasing coronavirus outbreaks. Traders fear a surge in virus cases in some American states could force policymakers to further delay reopening the economy. At the same time, there is the potential for trade tensions to resurface between the European Union and the US. The White House is considering new tariffs on $3.1 billion in exports from France, Germany, Spain and the UK. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund has further downgraded its outlook for the world economy. They now expect a deeper global recession with output to shrink 4.9% this year. This is much sharper than the 3% contraction predicted in April. Closer to home, New Zealand's annual trade deficit closed at $1.33 billion in May. Data released today showed exports were up 1.3%, while imports were down 5.4%. And that's all from HFC Bank for now.
Turning to today's exchange rates as set this morning, the Fiji dollar lost ground against most foreign currencies yesterday as the US dollar sagged, but the Sangamoli made significant gains against the currencies of our two major trading partners, Australia and New Zealand. Commodities tended to drop today. Oil prices were down to under $38 a barrel. Gold was down at $1,770 per ounce, and silver fell to $1,757 an ounce. Turning to growing Fiji, the Fiji Cooperative Dairy Company Limited is now undertaking a cow rearing exercise to restock dairy herds reduced by the bovine tuberculosis and brucellosis outbreaks. Chief Executive Kushmendra Prasad says milk production also fell as the infected cattle had to be culled and removed from the farm. Prasad says apart from the cow rearing, they're also focusing on feeding the proper nutrients to the cows to increase milk production. He adds the disease impacted dairy production, creating a huge challenge to dairy farmers.
So once these calves are ready, which is in 1.5 years' time, we started from last year on full force of having the calf rearing facility done and calf rearing program to run. So once it's ready, we'll have the numbers back.
That's it from Business Tonight. We now join Jamie with the latest in sports.
Vinaka Whitney, and good evening. Up ahead, France tests a possibility and training a second priority for Delta Tigers. This and more in sports after the break.
हम रेडियो पीजी 2 सुनता है, रेडियो पीजी था इसके लड़का।
जी हाँ, मैं ताबुआ शहर से बोल रहा हूँ। मेरा नाम शर्मा है। फिलहाल मैं रेडियो पीजी 2 हमेशा सुनता हूँ, जो रेडियो पीजी 2 देश का धड़कन।
मेरा नाम चंद्रा है, मैं रकेती से बात करती हूँ। आपके राम राम। मुझे रेडियो पीजी 2 बहुत पसंद है।
रेडियो पीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
First up in sports tonight, there's a possibility of the Flying Fijians playing France later this year.
There is still a matter of discussions. All matches against Northern Tier teams will depend on travel restrictions being lifted and borders open and flights being allowed. So there's a lot of unknowns at the moment.
Some overseas-based Flying Fijian reps are expected to feature in the opening Skipper Cup and Fair Brother clash between Nandronga and Suva. These players are in the country due to the pandemic and are yearning for some much-needed game time. With the Skipper Cup competition set to kick off on the 25th of July, this would be an opportunity for some of these players to keep up with their match fitness.
The players are reminded that there is no guarantee to the positions. Despite their status of rugby achievements, whether they are in the Flying Fijians team or in Drua or in the or any other team.
The Flying Fijians in the Suva squad include Tevita Nangali, Enile Malele, Chita Wainingolo and Tevita Ikanivere.
What we are interested in to see them now is to see players coming in, looking at their fitness. If they have the fitness prior to the game on the 25th.
Suva is also well aware of the new format for this year's Skipper Cup competition.
Proposed format this year is a 2-round Skipper Cup competition. So that means each team will be playing 14 games on round robin, and also all the matches will double up as Fair Brother Challenge.
Suva faces Nandronga in round 1 on the 25th of next month at Lawanga Park in Singatoka, which will also double up as a Fair Brother Challenge. Carlini Tavi, FPC Sports.
While athletes and fans may be excited about the green light given to contact sports, another group of people are also over the moon about the news. The staff of Fiji Sports Council are happy all their facilities are back in operation, which means that some of them are able to go back to work. Aquila Dama reports.
The relaxation of restrictions on sporting activities is music to the ears for many.
like most of the Fiji Sports Council staff, who now have the facilities back in operation, meaning it's back to work.
They were sent home mostly on reduced hours, and they all had to take their annual leave. I think they were the main things we did. But we have over 200 casual staff, so they were put off back in March, and so it'd be good to get them back.
Sports Council Chief Operations Officer John Pickering says they were thrilled when the announcement was made on the weekend.
Yes, very happy. I think the news of the opening of facilities was news too for those that couldn't make it to work. So this is very good news for everyone.
All the Sports Council facilities were in full operation from Tuesday after the Prime Minister announced on Sunday that gyms and pools can be opened. Aquila Dhama, FBC Sports.
The Rewa Football Club is not in any rush to get their players back on the field training. While other teams are making their return to the grounds, Rewa is focusing on player welfare and setting together the pieces that make the Delta Tigers. Tali Materkula has more.
There are a few issues, including financial difficulties, that Rewa FC needs to iron out before regrouping for training.
Players that are still affected by this pandemic, they may be not walking, or they might find difficulty in traveling to the ground, or they may have moved back to their villages. To get them and keep them here in Missouri for training would be something that would be difficult to manage.
But the Delta Tigers are trying to put all issues aside for the ultimate goal of dominating the Vodafone Premier League.
The plan is first we need to study the new features that will be dished out and see our games and how we need to plan according to the games.
FIGFA Chief Executive Muhammad Yusuf says districts facing any problems can make use of the mid-season transfer windows.
Any player who is free and have moved district because they've lost a job and they've gone back to the village, province, and they are on a free transfer, this is the time they can change their mind and move to another district.
Rewa Football currently sits on top of the VPL points table with 12 points, winning 4 of its 5 matches. Tali Materkula, FBC Sports.
Liverpool moved to within touching distance of their first English Premier League title in 30 years. This as Crystal Palace were brutally dismissed 4-0 behind closed doors at Anfield. Manchester City must now win at Chelsea tomorrow to further delay the inevitability of Liverpool's coronation as Premier League champions. That's it from Sports Tonight. Coming up in new media, Apple announces changes to its Mac computers. Details after the break.
Hola, my name is Charlotte. I'm from Navindam. We love listening to the FM.
My name is Koto. I'm from Nagaranga. I love Today FM because of latest hit music and Today FM rocks.
My name is Sulweti. I'm from Nagaranga. Today FM rocks.
And Angie is here to tell us more about tonight, and the rest of the week will be in terms of weather.
Hello to you and welcome to the Weather World. Who doesn't like the cold weather? It's perfect for gardening or doing the daily runs. The weather is turning out wet in some parts of the country, but where exactly? Let's find out. In the west, it was surrounded with clouds with barely any rain. The night will bring in very cool winds, pushing the temps to 18 degrees. Eastwards from Peck Harbor to Suva, all the rain clouds met up here. Suva weather is always unpredictable. And up north, light drizzles were in and around. Nothing too serious. There will be overnight showers all around. At sea, southeast winds 20 to 25 knots, moderate to rough seas. Now turning to the tides, high tide at 10:06 p.m. with low tide at 3:58 a.m. Sunrise at 6:37. For tomorrow, it's a Friday, but it will be a rainy one. Not very appealing, especially when the weekend is so close. but there is very little we can do about it. Tomorrow's temps, Suva will take the coolness at 29 degrees, coolness mixed with rain. And looking further on to Saturday, more showers are prepping and bundling up. From what I'm seeing, the weekend will be wet. That's all the weather news from here. It's back to Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fijian Pulse tonight, we ask, are people going back to the old habits of using plastic bags?
I'm not using plastic bag, but the issue of the recycled bag that we are using now, it's kind of too expensive.
You can still see some people using single-use plastic bag.
I don't think so. Maybe market vendors, but so much in these bags.
Some people are using plastic bags again.
Recapping the main stories for tonight, Fijian troops exposed to COVID-19, illegal extraction on the up again, and court cases await housing authority frauds. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question, we're asking, are you in support of the new and relaxed COVID-19 restrictions that have been announced? Visit our FBC website to answer. And our shot of the day, Selena Tokalau took this shot at the Marriott Fiji at Momi Bay. Absolutely stunning. And you can send us newsworthy pictures to email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow, from the team and I, stay safe. Good night.
Na vango la tila tarelau au daptu mana korbatura on tawaran na kinuele na santa konrobe totale takana warang wale na mula fam ira kena serap kena putak baka do matagren
Pula, na vango derstia au waktu itu kalau toka au tali takana warang na mula FM na banduan serre.
Kalau minang kita besar, betapuan sebuah orang boleh film dapat dua.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.